Welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Your host, Jill Hart, the Coach's Alchemist. Couldn't be more excited to have you join us today. On this podcast, we celebrate the champions of change, the up-and-coming life, health and transformational coaches who are fearlessly stepping forward to make a difference in the world. Get ready for inspiring stories, practical tips, and powerful moments that will motivate you to make a positive change in your life and those around you. We're happy to have you join us on this incredible journey as we dive into the world of life, health, and transformational coaches who are lighting up the path towards a better tomorrow.
Hi, and welcome to the New World Order Showcase Podcast. Today we have with us Rad, and Rad can pronounce his own last name for us.
Okay, we already talked about it. I will not torture people. Okay, so my name is Radenko. If you like that, Eastern sound, Radenko. Radenko, Coach Rad Suvajac. so that's pretty much.
I would have never got that one. Never guessed it in 100 years.
Yeah, spelling is wrong. It would probably be Swayaz. That would be probably better.
Yeah, you might have a chance, but that's okay. Yeah. You are actually you're kind of a transformational coach.
Yes, I am.
And you're an author of Crush the Grip of Nicotine and Break the Chains of Addiction. So I'd like to welcome you to the show. I'm so glad that you decided to come join us, even though it's like the middle of the night where you are.
Well, it's occupational hazard. So different time zones.
And the wonders of the internet.
And the wonders of the internet. Yeah, I love this.
I do too. So is smoking still a really big deal in Europe?
Oh, yes. For example, in France, you have probably a population of 30% of people actively smoking like 1 or 2 packs a day. In Germany, in some provinces, it's not even forbidden to advertise cigarettes, so you can still see billboards. In my country, it's more common to see people who smoke than those who don't. As everywhere in the world, people start smoking at a really young age, even with all the systems that should prevent that. If I understand correctly, last statistics said that in the United States, 17% yeah, that was 2021, 17% of people still smoke. What I didn't realize how popular in the United States is vaping devices.
Yeah.
I don't judge people for their choices. I just don't see, even when I was a smoker, when those e-cigarettes first time showed up, it doesn't solve the core issue. It's still an addiction, for example, the switch. I believe it's less harmful, but it's less harmful.
It's still harmful.
It's still harmful, and in the 60s, you can Google archives of popular anti-smoking, how do you say?
Commercials?
No, organizations in the United States, and you can find a lot of files from the 50s and the 60s when the cigarettes were promoted as a way to improve your health. So, look, let's say this: U.S. Army, probably still most powerful army in the world, has a budget about $800 billion. Combined tobacco industry is $1 trillion. And it's kind of, they have resources to make people believe what they want them to believe. And I don't think that they really want. My personal opinion is that they don't really want people off their products. So okay, so that's why me and so many other great people who are helping people crush the grip of nicotine, or even more important, break the chains of addiction, are here to tip the scale in favor of humanity.
I love that. I actually used to smoke. I quit smoking twice in my lifetime. I quit the first time. I started when I was maybe 17, I think.
Yeah.
And then I quit when I was 21. I was pregnant and I could not be around cigarette smoke. It would make me throw up. I was just like, it was really easy to quit. So, and then I went through I waited, it was maybe another 10 or 12 years. And then I went through this really stressful part of my life and I decided that smoking was a good idea again. So then I had to quit again. It was harder the second time. Isn't it weird?
I was quitting. Well, quitting. When I was quitting, I couldn't quit. And I was explain why is that. I 4 times or 3 times, I can't even remember anymore. Fourth time, I started living the life of a non-smoker instead of quitting. I don't even know how much time has passed since I stopped smoking. I don't count days. And my method, that's called the Alliance Smoking Cessation Method. Alliance is an acronym of Life of a Non-Smoker. Is based on that concept. So I really understood people. Look, we had a war here in 19s, and there's a lot of war veterans. It was civil war and everything. So people who's how bad that war was like, for example, let's say Idaho starts war with what's the first neighborhood state? Wisconsin.
Wyoming.
Okay, so same people, same language, and from some stupid ideology, people start war. And there's a lot of veterans, a lot of drama, a lot of everything that comes with that. And yeah, we can now see how that look like thanks to the internet. And I met a guy who was really tough. He saw some stuff in life, and he was alcoholic, and he was drunk. He owns the bar. He even owns the bar, so he was drunk basically every day, all day. He knew he could smoke while he was drinking and working in a bar, 8 packs per day.
Oh
That's
God.
160 cigarettes, full flavored, full nicotine in that time. 160 cigarettes per day, and he stops. His idea was, I am buying them, they're not buying me. So that's a nice philosophy, but you really have to dig deep to find out the modality, what changed changed his mind. So basically he wanted to have authority over his life. And I never asked him, but I noticed that he has one daughter, and whatever she do, he does. She put a few piercings in his ears, so does he. She puts a tattoo, he puts a tattoo. So my idea is that he wanted to, he saw everything. He probably almost died, who knows how many times. And now he has a daughter that's growing up. And my idea was that he wants to spend more time, if it's possible, with her. If it's possible to expand his life, let's do it. So he wasn't saying like, I want to be like 5, 4, 6, 17 years without cigarettes. He wanted to be there to, he was looking at the future, like in a lighthouse, And later, I met a doctor. She's a radiology specialist, private practice, and everything. Really respectful here in my country, and she happens to live in my town. And even if she's a specialist in let's say official medicine, she's also into holistic medicine and everything, So we actually met on a neuro-linguistic programming certification that I attended that helped me build all of this. And she told a story. I was still smoking when she was telling that story. She said her children, her 2 boys, were always criticizing her about cigarettes. So I never met anyone who stopped smoking because somebody criticized him, told him you're ugly, you smell, and everything. I was defending myself, when I was smoking. So negativity doesn't work. But her sons, when she gave birth to the third child, her daughter, their sons told her, the fact that you don't want to stop smoking, and they were like 12 and 10 years old in that time. The fact that you don't want to stop smoking shows that you don't care about your children, even for that baby. And she was sitting and she was like, if I don't stop smoking, I will lose as a parent authority over my children. And she stopped. Now there's as you know, quitting smoking, stopping smoking is a complex. There's chemical reaction in the body. There are withdrawal syndromes. There's a lot of things happening in the brain and in the body. Who didn't try that cannot understand what it is. If you're crushing any addiction, it's a problem. I quit alcohol too at the same time. I have both withdrawal symptoms. I experienced all the withdrawal symptoms. And I use the tools from cognitive behavior therapy that I learned as a patient to overcome withdrawals and cravings, and tools from neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, to set myself on a path of the life of a non-smoker that I want to live. And I can shorten the process if your listener to explain the process in short. If your listeners would like to hear that, what do you think?
I think they would.
Okay, so basically, we're going to build a lighthouse. So what's the function of the lighthouse? When the things get bad, you see the beacon of light and you start to follow it. So the lighthouse in this situation is vision of life of a non-smoker that I want to live. I want to create a goal as a by rules of smart model and pure model, specific, measurable, realistic, relevant to me, and time bound, that I want to achieve, that is so great that it's worth spending my entire life chasing that goal, even if I never achieve it. So in my great goal, of course your goal have to be aligned with your values and your identity. And I was in the past a people pleaser too much. I do like helping people, and I realized my core satisfaction is to help. It's selfish, but I don't really think about it. If I can help somebody, I will do it, So I created great goal of helping. So, okay. And I, define how can I help people. So I realized, okay, I like coaching now. So I can help people as a coach. Okay, that's little bigger chunk, smaller chunk. So smaller chunk, okay. I can help my parents. For example, in case they need something, I can go lift heavy objects and stuff. I can help my neighbors with groceries, for example, etc. And what can I? So what do I need to be able to help people more? Okay, so if I want to be a coach, I have to, continue my education. So I created a smaller goal. Okay, continue your education, the field of NLP, emotional intelligence, marketing, whatever. Okay, so in order to help people as much as possible, as long as I can, so I should have reasonably good health, etc. I don't want to drown you with details and everything. There's a whole process. It's a really quick process how we define all those great goal and small chunks of that goal. Motivation. So the other thing is motivation. Why do I want to stop smoking? Okay, the common things are those that you hear on television, on newspaper, on pamphlets, on flyers and everything. Smoking is bad for your health. Oh, really, Sherlock? Every person on the planet who smokes, if he knows to read one sentence in his life, in any language, has heard that smoking is bad for his health. So we know that smoking can be dangerous for your life, but people learn from experience. Many people who stop smoking because of their health, they're actually already sick. They already got something that needs to be solved. So when they experience that fear, they stop smoking. Not everything, but not everybody, but great majority of that people. So people that motivation doesn't really affect on. It didn't have an effect on me because I'm still young. I can do a lot of stuff, and smoking wasn't like a limitation for me. I knew that yeah sorry, too many thoughts at one time. Okay, let's just read out. So okay. So health wasn't something that keeps me awake. Health is important, but people don't really, most of people don't really think so much about their health. So, even when I'm sick, I just want to go to the doctor, get my medication, finish with that, and forget all about it, to continue with my life. So it was really something that I, don't keeps me awake. So, but when I have a goal I want to achieve a lot in life, everything on the path of achieving that goal, every obstacle becomes experience or a tool. And the need of that time milestones, which I don't really have nothing against it, but for me, looking at the application, how much money I saved, how much days, hours I've been without cigarettes, it's just like driving while watching a review mirror, going forward, but you're looking in a review mirror, you're gonna crash, that's a philosophy from my methodology that I use with my clients. I will stop there. I think this is the essence, that if people contemplate over it, they can use, but basically in anything, just switch the concept. Eating too much sugar. Okay, so what would my life with reduced sugar, would look like? That's pretty. So
And
basically, yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
do you have like substitutions? I know a lot of people in the United States, they do vape and they're thinking that that's better than smoking, and then maybe they're moving on from that to trying to overcome the nicotine
Yeah,
addiction, because you do get addicted to the substance, the chemical. Your body
yes.
craves that chemical.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
There's very few people who don't experience those symptoms. I know
Mhm.
people who were, but they are physically strong people.
Mhm.
I know the guy that he said, I'm craving cigarettes so much that I feel like I'm gonna peel the skin off my body. Uh, and those okay. I think the problem is with conditioning. Okay, people are conditioned, and that's our nature. We cannot do much about it. Too afraid of those changes. So uh, basically, whatever is unusual that you experience, our body will first think about danger. Okay, if you're not familiar with some sound, if you hear it violently for the first time, you're gonna get scared. You're gonna feel everything, your body shaking and everything. And check this out. Let's imagine that you're working in some company for 20 years. Nothing special, but it's good. It's day after day. There's a routine, things repeating, and you're okay with that. And after 20 years, you get email that you're fired with no explanation. How would you feel?
Shocked.
Shocked, and everything that goes with it. Anxiety, what I'm gonna do here. In this in this metaphor, you are the brain that just received message We don't smoke anymore. And smoking, so look, I just want to get back, everything we do in our life, we do to make our life better. We don't smoke to kill ourselves. We didn't smoke to kill ourselves. You smoked because there's a good intention to satisfy some need. Our brain, every time nicotine touches the brain, releases dopamine. And you need dopamine. Without dopamine, you cannot get out of bed in the morning. There's other happy chemicals, I forget the words, I forget the name, that also got triggered. You need dopamine. Serotonin, right? Okay, serotonin, and there's the neuroadrenaline. What's the name? Never mind. Serotonin and dopamine. So if you don't get that, there's a problem. There comes depression. You don't have will to live. You don't have, you cannot move. You cannot do daily tasks. And brain has found a way to get that dopamine quickly. Take a smoke, nicotine kicks in, dopamine. And it really doesn't matter, do you smoke 5, 10, 15 years, 2 cigarettes a day, 22 cigarettes a day, or as a person I mentioned, 160 cigarettes a day. Brain has learned that once you put that in your mouth, you get dopamine. And as a computer, brain doesn't care or doesn't know what is that good or not. He knows he needs it. It's an operating mechanism. Consequences of doing that are something else. Cancer, COPD, bad skin, everything, okay? That's something else. And imagine now that you're pulling that habit out of your life. Well, you don't have to imagine, you experience that. I'm calling our viewers our listeners to imagine that. You take that out of your life suddenly, and your brain, with his limitless resources, will throw everything at you as possible to get you back on. As you said earlier, there was a situation in your life where you came to the conclusion that it's better to continue smoking. It doesn't matter what the situation was. Mechanism is the same. I experienced it. Every person who tried to stop smoking more than once has experienced it. Brain just, even if the situation is totally unconnected with smoking, there's no any connection between. Brain will say, look, you see how useless it is? Take a cigarette and relax. That's every message that your brain gives you. So brain defends itself by making you afraid. It creates anxiety. He translates cravings into grave dangers for life. You're gonna die if you don't smoke. That's the sensations that brain creates in the brain, and we tend to defend ourselves. Fight or freeze. People start. I'm gonna make it. The devil won't take me and everything. What person really needs to do in those moments is to say, bring it on. Okay, give me more cravings, Come on, let me see how we work. Because in reality, those things are not real. Those are just thoughts and your interpretation of those thoughts. For example, I invite listeners and you to imagine that you are on a beach, let's say in Florida, there's a beautiful white sand, sea is spotless blue, air is beautiful, How does that make you feel?
Feels good.
Feels good, okay. Now imagine that you're in a burning house. That doesn't feel good.
It doesn't feel good.
Neither scenario is real. You're sitting here in front of your monitor and camera and talking to me. That's reality, okay? So our brain doesn't know the difference between reality and fiction. If you create images in your brain will accept it and act upon it. Okay, good. Okay, feel good. Bad image, feel bad, run. Okay, so we have a situation here where something is pulled out of your life, like smoking, and brain craves it, and it activates your negative imagination to torture until you get back to it. But if you say yourself, okay, I'm gonna be happy for feeling bad, not convincing yourself that it's nothing, it's something, man. You feel it, you don't need it to deny it. I feel uncomfortable. Yeah, we have to use easy words, not give situation more power than it actually has, and it doesn't have any. But if you say, okay, I wanted to see how it feels to feel bad, your arm not gonna fall out. I'm gonna see if my arm gonna fall down if I don't smoke. Okay, if I choose to be without cigarettes, and then you have that paradox. If you're feeling happy for feeling bad, one cancels the other. Eventually, cravings pass away. When I figured out this method, the first thing I did when I stopped smoking, okay, look, I took pen and paper and wrote down, okay, I live in society where probably 30 to 40% of adults smoke. Less, but it's common. Here in my office, there's like 50 workers. I believe 20 people are smoking, and there's a smoking room, and there was 20 of us who smoked. So I figured out, I have friends who smoke, and I remember the words of my friend from college. He was the only guy in our group who didn't smoke. I asked him once, how do you manage not to? He was drinking. We were all drinking like 10 to for at least 10 beers each. You got drunk, and he never wanted to take cigarettes. He took maybe one or two puffs. He didn't like it and threw it away. And I asked him how he managed to handle, how is it possible that he doesn't have a temptation, And he told me, well, look, you just accept that people around you gonna smoke. You become okay with smelly clothes and everything, and when you stop noticing. So that day when I stopped smoking, I took the same philosophy, and I went in the office, and I sat with my friends close to them, and I was like joking, I was, laughter gets dopamine up and the chemicals, and I said, look, I stopped buying. Look, from this moment, I have stopped buying cigarettes, and I'm gonna be a secondhand smoker, here with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were laughing, So they were like, "Do you want me to blow smoke in your face?" So no, I would just sit here, sniff it. Okay. And they were, in a way, they were supportive. Eventually, after 2 or 3 times, I stopped going there in a smoking room because I figured out that from those 20 people, I only hang out with two, outside work. Those other 18, I don't even, like, everything. And in the bars, there was same situation, and you get temptation. You feel those temptation. And I figure out when I'm looking to in a pack of cigarette, people in our bars is still allowed to smoke, when people hold a pack on a table, though you probably know that those colors, everything was designed to to attract you. Yeah, it's a psychology of colors, and and I felt like like in a Harry Potter movie when those Dementors pulling out soul, I was feeling the same way. I was imagining that they're pulling me to cigarette to the pack. Um, and then I figure out, what is that object? It's a fistful of dead grass sprayed with some chemicals, wrapped up in a fancy package. Is that object, that item, have power over my life? am I gonna allow that object have power over my life? And I said, it can't have power over my life. I said to, I always use gratefulness. I always say, thank you, mind. Thank you, cigarettes. You had your function in my life, but now I have to move on. Thank you. But you are just an object, And when you fight, and when you avoid fighting, when you stop giving more power than it has, like death sticks, devil, Satan. I'm not denying, religion, but you're giving you're giving that fistful of grass power of supernatural being, and you're giving away your power as a human being, as a miracle of nature, as a creation of God. You're giving your power to one object. And there are also situations where I didn't have the answer. For example, you know how it is when you travel with the bus, especially long distance. I was going on a vacation, and it was uphill, downhill road, and they were like full of people, and some kids, high school kids, jump into bus, and one kid sat next to me. And somehow, since I'm already nervous of that from that atmosphere, I'm still having some withdrawal symptoms. Bus is most common trigger for smoking, because everybody everybody waiting to get out of bus so they can smoke. And that was my first trip since I stopped smoking. And some kid sat next to me, and I had a feeling that he took a part of my seat. And I don't want to say all the things that went through my mind that I mentally sent to that kid, and then desire to smoke. They're just firing up. And I'm trying to use my tools to ease the anxiety, And at some point, I just said to myself, look, Rad, it's not easy. I do feel uncomfortable. And I don't have an answer to this, how to deal with this now. But I know one thing. 20 minutes earlier, I didn't have these feelings. And I don't know how long these feelings gonna last, but they have to end. I don't have an answer how to quickly eliminate it. And when I confess to myself, I don't know how to deal with this exact situation, the anxiety, the craving, everything disappeared. And then I figured out that I was taking part of that kid's seat. He wasn't invading my space, I was invading his. And I looked at him and I said, I apologize, and moved a little bit, on my seat. And I was like, the whole situation lasted probably 10 minutes. But for me, in that state, it felt like it was 3 hours. So, yeah, I think I covered a lot.
I think you did. Do you feel like when you're stopping, when you're giving up cigarettes or quitting alcohol or any of those things, that you find if you embrace a different identity, like you talk about lions being life of a non-smoker.
Yeah.
So that it's different as a non-smoker or a non-drinker, because there are people I know with alcohol, I recently embraced sobriety myself, and I'm still around people that drink all the time. I don't personally want alcohol anymore. I made a conscious decision to set it aside because it wasn't benefiting me in my life and who I was becoming. So in that way, I was wondering if you found that identifying as a non-smoker, even though you're surrounded by people who are smoking, if that doesn't help you process when those urges show up, and sometimes they do. It's just like, I
Yeah,
could do
well,
that, but I choose not to. It's like,
look, we tend to tie our identity to things we do. You
mhm,
know, uh, I had in high school. I had a class philosophy,
mhm,
and the teacher said, professor said, who we are truly, who we truly are, is when we get home, take off the clothes, get our sweatpants, sweatshirt, and sit in front of TV. Through entire day, we play some roles that are somehow tied to, so it's not an identity, it's a role. Uh, Life of a non-smoker. I choose acronym LIONS to hide that non-smoker because our brain doesn't process no's, negations,
mhm.
don'ts. Don't think about pink umbrella. Don't think about pink umbrella in a trunk of an elephant. Don't think about elephant that balance on beach ball. What's the first thing you think about? But if I tell you, think about sandy beach in Florida, that's different. So I hide that alliance, that non-smoker in the alliance acronym, and as part of the process, we going through NLP method, creating a goal through identity. So what's the persona that I choose in that life? I want to help, so I become a coach rat. And I mean, I don't have to
And
think
or a rad
about.
coach.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I didn't think about it. Okay, I could use that in my future product. Red, coach. Okay, so great. So basically, um, okay, you have children. Remember when they were like 4 or 5 years old, when they play, I don't know, Spider-Man or cowboy, or they really believe they're cowboy, and in their map they are. We see kids, but those kids are saving the world in their head. So as long as they're in that movie, they will behave as a cowboy or Spider-Man or Superman, or in my case, Batman. Batman is my uh, my persona I embody. Uh, so in this way, if you when we defining the goal, when we want to achieve a goal, when we creating that avatar, that identity of person that is going to achieve that life, uh, we go through the process. What is that person is doing, what values, what strategies that he use, what beliefs and values they have, and who are they in their process. There's like people there. I don't know, that movie, like Sylvester Stallone, that old movie, Top Over Top. Remember that movie? It was B production. He's like a arm wrestler.
Rambo?
Uh, no, no, not Rambo. He's like a truck driver that goes in Las Vegas to play arm wrestling. So he can buy a new truck.
I missed that one.
Yeah, it was really, in a communist Yugoslavia, we usually got B production from United States. Okay. Um, so anyway, he's saying he has a dialogue, when he gets on a ring with other wrestler, he has a cap, baseball cap,
Mhm.
and when he turns it sideways, he becomes a machine. So in this case, who are you in your life as a non-smoker? Some people say, I'm badass Buddha. Sly says, I'm a machine. Because it's kind of hard to remember all that techniques at once. But when you become that persona, you have that abilities anyways, you know.
Mhm.
And you ask me, you hang out with that people, you know, who, for example, who smoke or drink, you know. In the beginning, it's not easy, but it's doable. The thing is, you know, when I stopped drinking before I stopped smoking, and it was easier than stopping smoking. You know, I was always, you know, 99% of people here drink, you know, and when they go out, not everyone are alcoholics, but a lot of people drink, you know. Probably you have that in the United States.
Mhm.
And so you know, when I started going out with friends, you know, they got drunk really quickly. And then when you see all that drunk people, you know, in their head something is happening, but most of them just, you know, doing this on a loud music, you know, talking stupid things and everything, you know. And when you're sober, you see all of that, you know.
Sometimes
So
it's kind of annoying.
yeah, so I realized, you know, I remembered something. You know, I was believing that I started to believe that I'm not fun if I'm not drinking. Okay, so that's a belief that actually keeps you drinking. You know, here we can buy alcohol as minors in a bar. So in a small towns, bars live from high school kids. You know, in a small town, you know, you either get married after high school or college, or you go somewhere else to live, you know. And bars live from basically from high school kids. So I was believing that I'm not fun, that I'm not able to have fun if I don't have alcohol in my body and cigarettes. And and in that period of time, I was working with my doctor, my psychologist, who sadly passed away last year. And I told her how I feel, and she told me this. She asked me, "Do I have a orange or a lemon in the house?" I said, "I have lemon." Okay, get lemon, get knife, and get a bowl. You know. Okay, so I took a half a lemon. I took a bowl, and you know, we were like this on camera. And she, okay, hold the lemon above the glass. Okay, I hold the glass and lemon. And she said, "Okay, make me an orange juice." And I was like, "I cannot make orange juice." "And why can't you?" "Because this is a lemon." And I was like, "Oh, you know, if you're fun no matter what. You maybe just feel shy before you start telling jokes in a bar because you're conditioned from an early age that in a bar you have certain behavior that starts with drinking. You know, you are anchored, you're you're triggered to feel fun with drinking alcohol." So when I realized that, I said, "Look, I can have fun with my friends, regardless of whatever. And eventually they're going to become annoying and boring as hell. You know, when I feel that I'm uncomfortable, I can go home."
And you can still drive yourself,
Yeah, exactly.
not like them.
And especially look, I'm in a small town. My home is 10 minutes from everything. You know, I'm walking everywhere, you know.
Mhm.
And I was like, okay, and when I started going out again, thankfully the non-alcoholic beer started showing up in the bars, you know, because I was so sick of drinking mineral water and sodas and everything, you know. Those things are actually worse than beer itself.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. And when they started selling finally non-alcoholic beers, you know, I was, because I really like the taste, you know, of beer. You know, I was like relieved, thank you, you know. And I was start joking with my friends, you know, look, I'm gonna be a camera when we go out. You get drunk, and I will count you and tell you what you were like when you were drunk and what you were doing. I was joking, of course. eventually we all got older, you know, some friends got family, you know, we stopped going out, you know, now we hang out in the houses, you know. So the need for alcohol for me is over. It's only funny when I go to my friends, you know, if there's some non-alcoholic beer left, you know, they pack me up and say, take this with you, you know. And I said,
Yeah.
and I was like, I can feel uncomfortable, you know. I say, look, man, I will come again, you know, keep it in your house. And my best friend told me once, you know, man, what am I gonna do with it? What am I gonna do with this? Well, you know, make a cocktail, put some beer and a whiskey. I don't, you know. Okay, I just want to say you can turn everything in your favor. Just refrain, you know.
Yeah. Reframing is important. So your book is coming out soon, or is it
My
out
book,
already?
my book is coming out soon. It's finished in Serbian. It will be called Crush the Grip of Nicotine, Break the Chains of Addiction. Uh, when I finish, in the next 2 weeks, I think it should be translated in English, and I will post it publish it on Kindle on Amazon,
Mhm.
and hopefully, hopefully, not hopefully, when it's published, I believe I'm gonna, start creating even bigger impact in the world.
And this is when people hear this, it'll be February already. So your book will be available on your website, and we can leave a
Yes,
link to
yes,
that
yes,
there.
yes, it will be available in February. Oh, it will probably have thousands of copies sold by that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, it will be available on my website. It will be available on Amazon, print on demand, and the Kindle. And by that time, yeah, I have a friend who works as a freelancer, as a narrator. He will
Mhm.
read the book, and if I haven't heard him in English yet. We just met recently. Uh, yeah, he will probably do our audiobook for me. You know,
That's wonderful. That's
I
wonderful.
I don't know how will people react on my voice.
Your voice is really good. As I was telling you before we got started, your English is excellent. I have so much admiration for people that
Yeah,
really learn a second or third or fourth or fifth language.
yeah. I also recommend
Yeah.
people to try to learn second language. You know, you have those applications like Duolingo and everything. Not because you need it. Most of people don't need second language where they live. It's because your mental health. You know, Alzheimer's, new neural connection and everything. You can even get in a funny situation like I did. I downloaded the application to learn Chinese, and of course, Chinese is complex. I learned few phrases, for example, "Good day, how are you, sir?" And I learned that phrase. I forget, I don't know how to say that. And I went to a local Chinese store owned by Chinese.
Mhm.
We have people coming from China here opening businesses, and I greeted him in my beautiful Chinese, and his reaction was, "Huh?" He's like this, and I said, "Who His name is Who." Um, I was learning Chinese, and he asks me, uh, "What have you tried to say?" And I said, "I want to say, hello, how are you, sir?" You don't say that way. And then he pronounced it. And what I was saying and what he was saying, it was like apples and oranges, it wasn't similar. And I said, forget about it. But it was fun, I spent few months to learning to pronounce wrongly, but you know, reframing.
Sometimes it's, yeah, but it's an experience that you have to share now and a story.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
So, what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today, Rad?
I wanna What I'm saying, what I have learned, when I speak to people about stopping smoking, changing your life when you stop smoking, I actually think about changing the life. Stopping smoking becomes really small. Look, if this is a picture of our life, so I'm showing, for those on podcast, I'm showing the frame of an image with my fingers. The stopping smoking is just a small segment of it.
Mhm.
But somehow, I want to say that stopping smoking is not just recovery. It's a self-improvement. It's a self-growth. It's a psychological and personal and professional growth. Now imagine, I tell people, do you know how much discipline you need to be a smoker? It comes natural to you. I was getting up in 2 a.m. in the middle of the blizzard and walked to gas station to buy a pack of cigarette.
Mhm.
Put that determination in your coaching business and see what you can do. So in my work, I want to tell people, it doesn't matter if you're stopping smoking, you're changing your grocery list, or you're starting a coaching business, or starting a business, or starting a family. You're changing old habits to bring new one to grow. Getting rid of addiction is a self-improvement. The other self-development. Yes, that's the word. It's a self-development. So I invite people who want to work with me and just want to stop smoking. They don't need to call me if they want to do just that. The least thing we're going to do is stopping smoking. Everything else is building that persona, bringing out that persona that you have in you, like the lemon juice, and anchor it and putting to work to go to your lighthouse.
That's so great.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're doing what you're doing. And I really appreciate you coming on and sharing with me tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a real honor, real pleasure, and I felt really comfortable.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another empowering episode of the You World Order Showcase podcast. We hope you've enjoyed hearing from our incredible life, health, and transformational coaches who are making a profound impact on the world. Remember, change begins with you, and you have the power to transform your life and the lives of others. If you want to take that next step and unlock your true potential, visit thecoachesalchemist.com, where you can find the 3 ways we can help you for free to spin your talent into gold with clarity, a system, and a plan. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an inspiring episode. And if you enjoyed today's show, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your feedback means the world to us and helps us reach more people with our positive message. Stay connected with us on social media for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and upcoming guest announcements. You can find us on Facebook at the You World Order, or simply visit thecoachesalchemist.com.